You don't scale your brand by working harder. You scale your brand by building the right systems and hiring the right people. What's going on, everybody? Miller McCoy here, CEO and founder of Limitless. You're listening to Behind the Brand, the Closet Cast, or Limitless Minds. Again, we still don't have the right name for this, but we're just going to keep them chugging. In today's episode, we're going to kind of be breaking down a little bit more of news and information for brand owners and entrepreneurs who have already started their business, already started their brand and their journey down this path, and they're seeing some early success. Maybe they're doing $2,000, $5,000 a month in revenue, but they want to scale to consistently hit $10,000 a month or have really big releases that equate to making a six-figure business. And normally around that point in time is when a lot of people can kind of step back from their normal day-to-day and they can focus on scaling their brand the right way and making this their full-time passion, job, brand, business, whatever it may be. So let's break it down. A few things that we're going to be going over. If you're making $2,000 a month, you're a lot closer to hitting $10,000 a month than you think. Additionally, most brands will hit a plateau because they think that the next step is more product, when that's not the case. And additionally, if you want to turn your brand into a six-figure business, you need to stop thinking like a designer and start thinking like a CEO and a businessman, right? So this episode's not for beginners. This is for those of you who have already launched your brand and are ready to make the move into the next step, make some more money, and how to not feel stuck when reaching for the next level. So I'm going to be breaking down the biggest bottlenecks, how to build a small but powerful team, and what shifts you need to make to turn that small business into a little bit bigger of a business and doing consistent months. So breaking out of that 2,000 to 5,000 month plateau that a lot of brands face and a lot of people find themselves in, right? There's a few things that need to happen. And the first thing is, it might sound a little cliche here, but it's a mindset shift that you need to do, right? You're no longer just a creative, you're a business owner. And you need to start treating your brand as such, right? A lot of people, they just really are obsessed with the art and the love of the game and, being in this, I make a cool design, I make it, I release it sort of model. And it's good to build your first little base and foundation by doing that. But it's very hard to then scale outside of that and be able to build something that is sustainable and build something for the long term. Right? What we always preach on this is we're never trying to catch the fast burn trends, right? What we're always trying to do is build a longevity-based brand, something that is going to build equitable value, something that is going to allow you to have a real business behind this, right? And look, if you want to just go out and make one-off designs and release them willy-nilly with no rhyme or reason, and you just want to play that game and run that route, awesome. I empower you to do that. I love that for you. But this podcast might not be the right podcast for you, right? But if you're somebody that's like really understanding that, I've got this brand, I'm able to get a little bit of motion, I need to build this into a business, I've got some gems for you here, right? So that first thing is going to be that mind shift change. And the common trap that we see a lot of times is brands making $2,000 to $5,000 a month. They get stuck thinking, I need more products. More products equal more money, when that's not actually the case, right? If you go from being able to do 2 to 5K with 3 products, you should easily be able to get to 10K with those same 3 products, right? It's really about doubling down and evolving those products, enriching your customer experience, enriching the community that you're able to build, all of that sort of thing. It's not about hitting the drawing board again and finding new products, right? It's about solidifying your winning products, doubling them down, and being able to increase the growth behind those products and get known for those products, right? Once you can start getting known in the industry or in the scene or whatever sort of ecosystem you live in for those products, and word of mouth can start moving around about those products, you always want to be able to sell those products. So it's about finding your winning products, getting known for those products, and being able to double down, triple down, quadruple down, and just keep running those products, right? There's a lot of like hat companies that get really known for their core hat style. And you just see these guys keep pumping these hats out, keep pumping them out, right? And it's a winning product. They're able to do it, right? Maybe they change the colorway for it, right? But they're never going to change. They're never going to introduce that hat and then think, okay, well now I should do shoes, right? No. You know, too early, right? You build this brand out for a few years and now you got a lifestyle brand behind it. Sure, introduce some shoes. But if it's still, you're working with a few thousand customers, stick to what's working, stick to what you know, and keep running that, right? What actually scales a brand is the marketing, the operations, and the audience building, that community aspect, right? Nobody knows your brand if nobody sees it, So it's really focusing in on marketing, the winning products, and the lifestyle and the effect that you want your brand to give to the audience, and just continuously doing that. You making a shoe out of left field is not going to do anything crazy valuable for your brand. Sure, you might catch a trend, right? I remember when like the EV foam shoes were all the craze and everybody wanted to do those EV foam shoe styles. And if you were a t-shirt brand that was selling cool graphic tees and styles and you started making some traction there, and then you went and you started doing these foam shoes, you lost a lot of that business. Sure, you might have gained some new business from this, but now where are you, right? You're on the seesaw, and instead of always rocking and living on the seesaw, we want to be at a steady growth rate, right? We want to continuously push the brand up, continuously focusing on what is performing well, doubling down on what is performing well, so that way we can keep following that growth track. So if t-shirts aren't your thing, but hoodies are, or if hoodies aren't your thing and tattoo creams are, or lip balm is, right? Keep staying in that product, stay in that vertical, right? And, if you're doing a lip balm and that's doing really well, instead of coming out with a t-shirt, maybe look at doing a face moisturizer, right? Stay inside of the niche that you're focused on and keep building that community and providing value to that community that you are already building based around the brand, right? More products aren't going to fix your broken business model, but more customers will. Additionally, if you're not spending at least 50% of your time on that marketing and outreach and customer acquisition route, you're playing the game wrong, right? If all your time is going to be focused on just building the designs, but then you don't know how to sell those designs, or you don't know how to go find new customers, or how to go acquire anybody with this sort of stuff, then at the end of the day, you're just a designer, right? You're an artist, and that's great. That's a beautiful thing. That's a huge talent that a lot of people don't have, and a lot of people wish they had, right? But you have to learn how to have that fine blend of being an artist, being a designer, and also being a businessman or a businesswoman, right? And being a CEO, being somebody that knows how to run business and operate business. At the end of the day, all of these brands are businesses. So you have to start treating it like one. You can't keep treating it like a passion project and expecting it to go from 2K to 5K to 10K to 50K to 100K, right? Like you have to begin operating it as such, right? So the three levels or levers to scale from 2K a month to 10K a month. First is going to be the traffic growth, right? You need more eyeballs on your brand. You need more people to see it. You need more people to be able to make that conversion switch to just seeing it to being a purchaser. The old days of marketing, it was always said, the number 7, right? Somebody needs to see your brand 7 times before they actually can recognize that brand. In today's world with short form content and the amount of content being pushed, I don't think there's been a new study on this, but I would bet that new number needs to be 30, right? Somebody needs to see your brand 30 times to be able to recall it and recognize it, right? And maybe even the recall, they need to see your brand 50 or 100 times to be able to just recall it from their memory, So you really need to get more eyes on it. There's multiple ways you can do this, and the paid way is the final way that I would suggest for anybody. The first few ways are the influencer seeding, so building out PR packages, right? And I actually just had a call just recently about today about this sort of PR packages, right? Where I was talking to a fellow brand owner in the space who wasn't getting the best result from his PR package model, his seeding models. And he was like, look, man, like I'm sending out, 20 to anywhere from 20 to 50 a month to all these different influencers. Some of them are chefs, some of them are comedians, some of them are athletes, all this, some of them are just like big Instagram, TikTok influencers, and I'm not getting a good conversion on any of them. And, there's some people that we worked with that have very good conversions when they do their influencer seedings. And then there's somebody like that who's not seeing the same level of results. And, I was explaining to him, right? Like, okay, what niche and what avatar is your brand fit in, right? If it's the athletes, why are you sending them to mom influencers and chefs, right? If you're an athlete, you should send them to fellow athletes, right? You need to conquer that niche and you need to stick in that niche, right? You're not going to acquire if your avatar is athletes and you send your hat to a mom influencer, that's going to do your brand value and customer acquisition no good. Sure, you might get one or two trickling clients from that, but like that, if you hit the right athletes and you send it all to strictly athletes and you just keep devouring in that niche, right? You're going to have a way bigger impact and be able to make way more sales and make way more money and move way more product by delivering it to the athletes, And additionally, you need to be very careful about the influencers or the people that you're sending the PR packages to. There's a lot of people on social media that have large followings. A lot of those people that have large followings have very low power over their audience, right? And what I mean by that is, you can be a very big influencer and you can go on social media and you can say, check out this product, check out this page, look at this thing. And then the amount of conversions that shout out or that notoriety can get you can be extremely low. And those people have very little authority or power over their audience, right? So you need to find the more niched people that have very strong authority over their audience, right? There's a lot of people in like the golf scene that have very strong authority over their audience. And same with the chef scene that have a very strong authority over their audience, right? But the classic model or an actor, a lot of times they don't have extreme authority over their audience, right? Because they're not super niche down and have a very large audience that is following them for this one thing, So you find a lot more niche power in, if you're a football player, you have power in the football industry, in the football scene. Right now, if you go out of the left field and you start promoting a chef, it's probably like, what? Why? Right? Or if you make a skincare company and that skincare company is its desired avatar is for high school females, and it helps with X, Y, and Z, you're not you seeding that product to the offensive lineman or the running back for this football team, you're going to get no conversion. There's going to be no overlap there. So you need to find the right influencers and be able to send the right catered packages to the correct people that are going to be able to make that impact for you, right? So a lot of people just think like, okay, well, this PR list that I have, there's a total of 10,000 people or 10, they've got a total combined following of 10 million people. So let me send it out to all of them and see what I can get. If they're all in different niches and they're all different people, don't expect really any conversions at all, right? And if none of them fit the avatar that your desired customer is, well, you're wasting product and you're wasting time or you're wasting money and all of that sort of stuff. So really niche down those influencers and those people that you're sending those PR packages to make sure that they fit the correct avatar and lifestyle that you want your brand to be able to push, right? If you make a crypto brand, a brand based around, cryptocurrency and stuff like that, why am I going to then go try to get a standard model influencer to go try to promote this? No, I'm going to go find 20 crypto influencers to go try to promote this, right? Or whatever it may be, right? So stick in your lane, stay in your vertical, and really find that route. Um, and additionally with that, I want to kind of touch on, there's a lot of ways that you can do the influencer route. And one good way that I see popping off right now is, instead of giving them, a lot of them are going to make you pay, right? And we'll get into this. I'll talk about some ways to do it for free as well, or just cost your product and time to do it. But a good way to kind of, if you are going to go the paid route, and they just say, yeah, man, I charge X amount of dollars flat rate, right? Okay, think about that and be like, okay, well, if I just send you this product and I got to pay you this much, how do I know in return I'm going to get the same value back, right? So in that instance, I would strongly suggest doing a pay model that allows the influencer to focus on post performance, right? So, look, man, I hear you charge X amount of dollars. I'm willing to pay a little bit less than that X amount of dollars. However, if your post gets, if you make a video for me and your post gets 100,000 views as opposed to your typical 30,000 views, I will pay you a bonus. And in fact, if your post gets 250,000 views, I'll pay you an additional bonus. And if your post gets 1,000,000 views, I'll pay you all this money, right? So it's paying them on post performance as opposed to paying them a flat rate fee, and being able to do that model, the influencer that you're seeding the product to, they're going to think of it more in a way of, okay, well, how can I gamify this to be able to get more eyes on this post? I should actually spend some time and make a nice quality piece of content around this garment or around this brand or this product, whatever it may be, to be able to maximize, I want to get the 1,000,000 views on this so that way I can get the most money back out of this, right? So being able to gamify the influencer seeding by being able to pay them on post performance is one really good way that is currently winning in the space right now. And some ways that you can go kind of the free route, I say free, it's going to cost you product and it's going to cost you time, right? But one, obviously nurturing a relationship with some of these people, or offering to do freebie sort of stuff where it's like, yo, man, I see you've got 10 buddies that are always in your YouTube videos. I'll send a care package that's for everybody in that, right? Now you might not get the main guy to post it, but you might see in the background of 4 YouTube videos, you've got a few different people that are always in the videos wearing it, right? Or offering a free sort of service where it's like, yo, I run a brand. I'd love to do I'd love to make you a custom design, but in return for it, I'm going to send you one of my products, and I expect you to be able to wear it. If you like my design, great. You can use the design, you can use the branding thing that I make for you, whatever. Just in return, I expect you to show me some love and wear my product and maybe talk about it, right? So being able to offer a trade of sorts. A lot of times, if you're at this level, the 2K to 10K level, a collaboration is not going to be that exciting for any of these guys, right? How some of them might be making 2 to 10K per post, right? So they're going to be providing you, and you won't be able to provide them an equal exchange in return. So for you to do a collaboration isn't going to make any sense, but maybe you offering some level of service or value that you can provide them that they currently are missing, you could do a sort of trade in that manner, right? Maybe it's, hey man, I am really good at design and really good at, I can make your thumbnails. I'll make you 5 thumbnails for your next 5 YouTube videos. In exchange, wear my hat or wear my t-shirt in 2 of the videos that I make your thumbnails for, right? Something like that can also work. And then the powers in numbers, right? You got to expect for every 100 no's, right? You got to send 100 more asks and just hope that you're going to get some responses back. Be able to stir up some sort of conversations with them. Be able to start something, right? And even those little conversations that you're starting, learn from those and learn how you're getting in tune with them. I saw this really good, this guy who sells outbound lead sales services. What he does, and he does it all through DMs, is he goes onto ChatGPT, he copies the Instagram and YouTube profile, he'll screenshot it as well. He'll paste it all into ChatGPT and say, hey, please, analyze this person's content, this person's style, who they are, how they talk, and help me make an outbound message to them that I can send them on a cold DM that might get their attention. Right. And it'll analyze it and it'll take their ego into effect. And it'll take their brand language into effect. And it'll take the words that they say a lot. And it'll give you a message that you can send to them that is using their language. And being able to present something like that would probably be a lot more beneficial than sending somebody a 2-paragraph long message about, yo, bro, I love your content, would really love it if you could help support me. That's going to get you nowhere. Right. But being able to offer a trade, being able to offer a mass package to their whole entire scene, or their whole friend group, and being able to offer payments on post-performance, those 3 things are going to help make a difference. Again, the next approach would be the organic UGC route. I've mentioned this before, getting a little army of, micro influencers or people that are just really good at making content to make content about your product, do unboxing videos, do try on videos, do, hauls, outfit of the day videos, all that sort of stuff. Being able to have them make your videos for you, right? Again, there's power in numbers. If it's just you doing it, cool. You've got you're making 1 to 2 to 3 posts a day about doing this, right? Or in a worst case, you're making 1 post a week about about your product. Now, if you could get 3 people to make a post a day, or to make 2 posts a day, or to make 3 posts a day, right? Now we're able to multiply and grow this thing exponentially. You get 10 people, you get 100 people, you get 1,000 people. Now you've got power in numbers, right? So that organic content route. And that one's going to also just hit heavier, and it's going to feel organic to the consumers. It's going to be able to be way more real, tangible, and relatable. And then the final way would be, after exhausting all measures through your own forms of marketing, doing paid ads, right? I always think that's the last sort of method that you want to do, is when you turn that switch on, just realize it's going to be very hard for you when you turn that switch off, right? Once you start paying the platforms, they're going to expect you to pay them, right? And once you stop paying them, well, these guys own the algorithm, these guys own the channels. Who's to say that they're just not going to kind of start softening your engagement a little bit, right? Because you're not paying them anymore. So the paid ads route is really good to get new customers. And once you've kind of built your first super fan base customers, and you are, you're getting a good customer return rate, and you can count on these first 100 or 1,000 people to show up for you every drop, then I think it makes sense to kind of turn that ad machine on and really run its course and go find you some new customers that you can then transition to super fans, super customers, right? The next is offer optimization. So just increasing the checkout size for your customers, right? More sales per each customer. So you can have the same amount of customers, but in Shopify, you can get tools that like put a progress bar at the top of your checkout, right? Hit $100, get free shipping. And you segment your product offerings in a way that's like, you offer, your t-shirts are $50 and your hats are $20. And if you spend $105, you get free shipping. So now I got to buy 2 t-shirts plus a hat. And instead of spending $105 exactly, I'm now, I'm now spending $120 because I'm buying the 2 t-shirts plus the hat. Right, so now you're getting a larger add to cart rate, you're getting that progress bar completion for the customer, and they get free shipping, right? Being able to do things like that, or one-click upsells, right? When they've added something to cart, you can get plugins on your Shopify store that allow you to then, people that also like this product, right? And just being able to click it and check out, right? And on your website, right, it should be very point blank. I should be able to go to your website, add a product to cart, get to the checkout page, all within 2 to 3 clicks. And the more clicks that you put inside of there, the longer it's going to take for somebody to reach that checkout. And each microsecond really counts in the world of e-commerce and this fast-paced consumer world, right? The next is going to be customer retention, aka just more repeat buyers, right? So most brands focus too much on new customers and ignore the returning ones. Returning customers are always going to be your best customers. Going in and acquiring new customers is always going to be what's most expensive, but being able to provide a good experience and resell your returning customers is going to be way more beneficial for you, right? You're going to be able to have a way better return on that. And that's where you're going to be able to convert these returning customers into super customers and super fans and people that are always going to be there for you whenever you release, right? Like once you can get your first 1,000 true fans, like I was talking on a previous podcast here, that's where your whole world can change. You know, you don't need 1 million true fans. You just need 1,000 true fans, right? You get 1,000 people to spend $1,000 with you. You've got $1 million brand or $1 million business. That's all it takes, right? So if you sell your hoodies for $100 and you sell t-shirts for $50, and on average you have an LTV, a lifetime value of each returning customer around $250, meaning they're showing up a couple times, just do the math to figure out, okay, I only need to sell, I need to, I get a repeat customer base of 30%, 60%, anything like that, right? And the average value for those repeat customers is $250. Well, do the math, figure out how many repeat business you need to make $1 million business and try to run that, as opposed to trying out and acquiring new customers to hit that $1 million mark, and a way you can turn first-time buyers into lifelong customers would be through post-purchase flows, right? Keeping them in your wheelhouse with email automations and sending them new sale offers and, letting them know that, hey, I've got a new release coming. Hey, we're doing a release only for our previous customers to show thanks. Everybody's automatically, I normally sell t-shirts for $50. We're going to sell this next t-shirt for $40, but it's going only to the email list, right? Nobody else. So if you're on the email list, you can get access to it, right? Or the SMS list or whatever it may be, just focus on building a engaging audience. It's going to start small. It's going to start with the first 5 people, then turn those 5 to 20, then turn those 20 to 50, turn those 50 to 100, right? Once you've got 100 true fans that are always showing up for you, are always rocking with your new product and rocking with the winning products and are telling their friends about it, that's where you're going to get the snowball effect for this whole entire thing. Most brands don't have a traffic problem. They have a conversion problem. If you're doing that PR package and you're sending out to all of those people, you're getting 10 million eyeballs on you, but none of them are in the right niche. That's a conversion problem, not a traffic problem. A 10% increase in repeat customers can double your profits, right? Like if it cost me $5 to go acquire a new customer on ads, but it cost me $0 to sell to the repeat guy or girl, right? If I can just sell that repeat business, you're going to see a massive increase in your profits because your spending of going and acquiring customers is going to go lower, where your selling to repeat customers is going to increase. And that's free. You've already got them in the pipeline. You've already got them in the door. It's just about retaining them, providing them a solid, good experience, being able to make sure that they're happy with their purchase, sending post-purchase flows and letting them know that you value them. You thank them for the business. Hey, thank you for purchasing that hoodie. Here's 3 new hoodies that we've got in the pipeline, right? Like these are coming, right? And being able to actually build an engaging base, being able to have conversations with these people through your comments, through DMs, all that sort of stuff on the social media and getting personable with them. That's going to provide you so much more value. So the next thing that I want to touch on is building a small but powerful team, right? There's 3 hires that if you're trying to run a lean operation, there's 3 hires that I would suggest making. The first one is going to be kind of a freelance or VA operations person for customer service and customer support. Build them an SOP, a standard operating procedure. Tell them about your voice. Tell them about your voice. Tell them about your target customer. Tell them about the route that you want to take and the cycle that you want your consumers to feel and understand about your brand, right? Um, the responses should never be generic responses. They should be catered voiced responses, right? If you've got a certain lingo that you use to, or word that you use to call your fans or your consumers by, make sure that they are using that word, that verbiage, that lingo to talk to your customers in, right? Um, there's a ton of different VA companies and individuals that it's going to take some work, you know. If you get somebody that doesn't speak English the best, well, you're going to have a real hard time. So it's going to be vetting through a lot of different options. It's going to be finding the right ones, setting tests for them to see if they can pass or fail, right? And spending time coaching, teaching, and training them on how to perform best for your brand. So that first person that I'd hire would be the freelancer VA customer support route. You know, anybody that's having issues with their orders, they should funnel through this email, which is being monitored and managed by a freelancer or a VA, right? You can find, if you're starting small, you can probably find a buddy from school or a buddy in your network or somebody like that that is willing to take this on. It's not going to be too much labor. It's not going to be too much work, right? And you're probably going to get a better, more optimized and hands-on approach doing that than finding somebody in the Philippines, right? Now, if you are going the VA route, I would strongly suggest the Philippines, Venezuela, and Egypt. Those three countries perform best with the English markets, and the Philippines have really good customer care. That's just like a ingrained sort of cultural thing. So that's a big route, right? Your first hire shouldn't be a designer. That should be you, right? It's still you. But it's somebody who's going to free you from those daily operations of answering customer service requests, going through DMs, responding to comments, going through all the emails that you're getting, all that sort of stuff. And you know, it can start small, right? But if you find yourself starting to spend a couple hours a day, up to 5-10 hours a week doing this, this is where I'd start to think about implementing somebody to kind of take over this role for you, right? If a $5 an hour VA can save you 10 hours a week, well, you know, if they're working for $5 an hour and it's only 10 hours worth of work, I'm sure that with those 10 extra hours, you can figure out how to make yourself $20 an hour.
So now you're having a net positive $15, right? Uh, and then additionally, if you have a local buddy who's able to help you do localized fulfillment, and local fulfillment's taking you 10 hours a week or so, and you can pay this guy $5 a package or $2 a package or whatever it is, and you're able to go into your Shopify and add a pick a pack fee and do all this sort of stuff, then do that, right? And figure out ways to buy back your time that allows you to focus in on doing what you do best, right? The next hire that I would suggest would be somebody that's based around the content creation, the social media management, uh, and that whole entire that online approach route. You know, especially if you are doing already a mass UGC sort of style where you've got 10 creators that are making content for you every month or every week or every day. You know, having somebody that can manage that for you and make sure that all these guys get the new product. All these people are staying up to date with how you want the product to be viewed and what type of videos you want them to make. And you have somebody that's finding the new, the new unboxing style or the new outfit of the day style or the hot sounds or whatever it is, and being able to implement those and make sure that your UGC team is staying up to date on that. And then additionally, somebody that is able to, not just monitor the social media for you and your respect, because that could also be done through the customer service team, but also somebody that's able to view what's hot on social media, find the new kind of trending transition clips, right? And figure out ways that you can implement those with what works for your brand ethos, you know, and slowly introducing some of those, right? If, you know, this new audio is the new trending sound and we're seeing people get huge view rates on this audio, use that audio, right? What we're not trying to do is always have to chase the trend, but we're trying to implement the trends with what's working already for your brand and just be able to amplify that brand, right? Uh, so, content is king, but you don't have time to be on TikTok or Instagram 24/7. Hire somebody who does, right? And being able to find and train somebody that can understand and retain this information and do this sort of job, you're not going to be looking at hiring a 40-year-old dude who's really good over here, but doesn't understand social media. You're probably going to be looking at somebody that's like Gen Z, Gen X, right? And has a really good understanding of social media already in the landscape and is already kind of in tune with this world, with the online consumption, e-commerce, TikTok, Reels world, right? And then being able to uh, schedule out and build a content pipeline like we've kind of done here at Limitless with Polly, right? Uh, every week he's coming in and Steve's working on building out a content scheduler, right? Where we know we're always filming content 1 to 2 weeks ahead, right? We're always going to we'll have the idea pipeline, we'll crank out those ideas, we'll then schedule them out, and then we then post them, right? So we're always ahead for never having to scramble and scrape by. Now, if there's a crazy trend like Forever 21, at the time of recording this, Forever 21 just announced that they're closing all their US based stores, right? Cool. Jump on that news, right? And Limitless has now made a video about that news, is going to post it in real time. So that way we stay up to date with that news, you know? But being able to schedule all that out and having a proper funnel for your content and having proper management over the content, as the brand owner that's hitting some of these growing pains, we don't have time to always do it. Buy back that time. And the third position that I would focus on is hiring a growth partner, right? Somebody that you can start figuring out how to start outsourcing your ads or outsourcing your marketing or your email flows and being able to build a newsletter and, just the continuation of customer growth, right? And having a pipeline for them to actually funnel through and follow through, right? Um, you're not just selling products, you're selling attention, in today's landscape. So being able to find the right person and hire on that right person that does that at a very high level or understands it at a very high level is super critical and super important. So just to recap, the three kind of positions would be a freelancer VA operations and customer service place or person, a content creator and social media manager, and a growth partner, right? You don't scale by working harder. You scale by hiring smarter. Additionally, your first hire shouldn't be a designer. It should be somebody who frees up your time to allow you to dive into what you do best, which probably at this point in time is building your designs, building out your product catalog. The next is kind of a 90-day plan, right? So this is a simple, actionable week-by-week plan for brand owners to follow. And I might actually just go ahead and drop this down in the description as well, but assuming that you've already got a brand that's kind of working and you're getting some success, this is kind of an easy way to start seeing some quick growth results. So 1, finding fixed conversion killers. Anything on a website that takes too many clicks, which is probably more than 3 to get to the checkout page, fix that right away, right? So bad product pages, weak offers, anything that you're like, yeah, that's not enticing. Yeah, that's not good. Fix it, right? So first would be fixed conversion killers. Second thing, introduce 3 small paid ad campaigns. Literally small though, $10 a day at the most. We don't want to start giving these platforms too much money. We want to do this small. We're going to do this to just get more eyeballs, right? The third thing is send 3 influencer seeding packages. Using what I've told you, before, It's a low cost for brand awareness. It's just going to cost you your material cost and a little bit of time. But using the ideas that I shared before about the influencer seeding packages, find 3 specific influencers in your niche and that fit your ideal avatar for the customer. Send them 3 care packages. The next sort of step is to be about month 2. That first one, month 1. Next one, month 2. Post 4 to 5 times a week, right? And do a mix of brand story, customer UGC, and behind the scenes, behind the brand sort of stuff, right? So it's going to be post 4 to 5 times a week, brand story, customer UGC, and behind the scenes sort of stuff. Next, engage with 30 potential customers daily. I remember in the OG days of this scene, right? You would see clothing brands commenting, yo, check DMs. Yo, I've got an opportunity for you. Yo, I've got something for you, right? Bring that back, but also hit them in the DMs. Also swipe up on their story, right? Engage with 30 potential customers. Just get people that are in the space that are, if I've got a golf brand and I compete with like good golf, right? I'm going to go to their Instagram page and find their commenters and stuff like that and start DMing them. Yo, check us out. Yo, I've got some, if you like good golf, I've got a hat for you. And you know what? Here's here's a $5 or $10 or percent coupon code that you can use to get you on your first purchase, right? And then test upsells, right? Or bundles, right? Add the apps that allow you on the Shopify that allow you to do the simple upsell. If you like you added this to cart, other customers that like this also like this, and you can manually set it all up, right? So you can say if you add the hat, then you also can show them a hoodie and you can show them another hat, right? So add that. And then the third scale or the third phase that I would suggest would be hire one team member, whether that's the customer service helper, the content helper, or the marketing helper. Balance out what you're spending most of your time doing. That's not the outreach or not the designing or anything like that. And figure out what it is and say, okay, if I bring on one person here that's going to free up 10 plus hours for me every week, I can spend those 10 extra hours that I get every week focusing on what I do best, which is the design, which is building out the product line, which is hitting up the potential customers, which is making the Instagram posts or making the content, right? Find one person, one team member that you can bring on. And then after that, once you've seen some success, once you find from month 1 what performance was best out of those ads and what content has performed the best for you and what influencers performed the best for you, bundle it together and do your first campaign, right? Find an influencer that performed best for you or an alike influencer. Find the post content that performed the best for you and put the two together, launch it, right? And launch it with the best ad set group or whatever it is. Launch it all together. Do it for a new product or do it for your winning product. That's probably where I'd start. And then from there, focus on retention. Everybody that comes in, hit them in the lead follow-up. Hit them with the email follow-up, the SMS follow-up, start sending them all their offers, and just keep rinsing and repeating that whole entire thing, right? Scaling isn't about luck, it's about systems. And what we've just tried to lay out there is a simple system that you can do to empower your brand just a little bit there. So some final takeaways from this. Scaling your brand from 2K a month to 10K a month is about marketing, retention, and delegation. It's not about increasing the product offerings. It's not about making a new design. It's not about hitting a new trend. It's about marketing, retention, and delegation. Your time is your most valuable asset with this. So if there's anywhere where you can buy back your time at a better value, do so, right? Start building up your small team and start small. Find what you hate the most and what is the biggest weakness of your time. Find a way where you can replace that with somebody who, you can double the money on the other side. If I get these 10 hours back, I know I can focus on this, which allows me to make more money, right? Or I get my time back, so that's about all I got. On the next one, I'm going to be going a little bit more on to do a deep dive of ads, hiring, more brand growth stuff. I might be bringing on a guest, or maybe even doing a real case study for you guys. I'm not too sure what's coming next, but it's going to be something exciting, something that you're going to be able to sink your teeth into. I hope that you got some value from this. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share this podcast with your fellow brand friends or anybody that you know is in the space is trying to start a brand. Make sure you check us out on social media. Again, Limitless MFG. My name is McCoy, and I hope you got something out of this. Thanks.